Okay. Oh well. All right now. Everyone, good evening. This is your soul brother Talib, and I'm back at you live, with a new video. Now I didn't necessarily plan to make this one this evening, nor any time today or prior to the day, but however, I came across something online and it was very alarming to me enough that I figured that I needed to make a video about this situation. Okay. And it was about a young black infant sister who's a sister of soul. She's an 11-month-old infant who never made it out of intensive care. Now, first of all, uh, you know, rest, respect, out of respect for her and her family, I was first start off by saying her name is Tinslee Lewis. And a hospital down in Fort Worth, Texas, where she was being treated at, had got an order from one of the high courts down there in Texas that okayed it for them to take her off of life support, despite her family's wishes for her to remain on life support. Okay, now the situation with this is that she is suffering with lung cancer disease, which is chronic. She's suffering with also chronic pulmonary hypertension, which along with other stuff, from my understanding, indicates the very seriousness of her disease, of her illness, which is why the doctors are saying that her medical condition is so irreversible that they have no other choice but to take her off of life support. But of course, once again, and also before I go any further, they tried to get several hospitals, including Johns Hopkins Hospital, throughout the country to accept her, and they would not accept her, by the way. So, her family still, continues to want to fight and appeal these court decisions, in spite of the fact that the child's condition is so irreversible, as the medical officials at the hospital have said that they can't do nothing else for her. So now this family wants to continue on hoping, and I guess, of course, I would assume that they're Christians more likely, or have their own preference of religion that they choose to believe in, that they want to bank on that she could possibly make it through this situation. Now, with that said, once again, we got a situation. Now, instead of her family accepting the reality of the situation as it's being presented, they want to keep hoping and wishing, for this mythical God to come from out of nowhere to help save this little baby from dying. When medical professionals have already clearly told the family that her condition is irreversible. And it ain't nothing they could do. despite all the, court battles and appeals and all this other stuff, even that the hospital was doing to work with them to try to keep the little baby on life support long as they could. And the fact of the matter is that she never even made it out of intensive care from the day that she was born, from my understanding. So, because she's 11 months old, as I said at first during my start of this video. And, it's like, man, do you get the memo? Now you want this child to suffer. I understand you love your baby, you love your daughter, you love your granddaughter, and so forth on. I get this, okay? But you got high, well-equipped, advanced medical professions that deal in the area of trying to treat her for the illness that she has, telling you clearly that they cannot do nothing about this, despite the fact that they have tried to help prolong her stay here on this earth by treating her for her illness. Okay? But yet, you insist on her not being taken off child support. Well, a court in Texas, again, ordered this time that she do be taken off life support. Now, the hospital has decided, by way of grace, I guess, as they call it in religion, by giving the family 7 days to see what they're going to do as far as appealing the court's decision and all this other stuff. But look, the gig is up. The gig is up. Why do you want this little black child? For those of you that say you love the children, you care so much about the children, it's about the children, especially those of you that talk that type of language coming from the pro-black conscious community, always saying it's about the children. It's about their welfare, it's about their well-being, it's about the children. Well, also, damn it, it's about the children, dead or alive, in this situation called racism that we find ourselves in, that we've been in for almost 500 years as descendants of dark-skinned slaves born in this country. Okay? So, as a family, you would rather tell the world that you want this child to keep suffering hypertension, chronic lung disease, and the other pain that go with it medically, hoping that she get through all that, then to suffer some more damn pain called slavery, racism, gerrymandering, mass incarceration, racial profiling, police brutality, and all this stuff that go along with being so-called black in America? Is this what you want for this baby? Because obviously you ain't done. You haven't had enough with seeing her going through pain. And like I said, I'm sorry for what you're going through as a family, dealing with this situation. Because if it was my relative, naturally I would feel the same way. But hey, the reality is, it's about accepting not only just for the sake of truth, but it's about accepting the fact of reality. That no matter how hard you pray, how hard you plead, even with these court battles and appealing this situation through litigation, you are not accepting the fact of reality that the gig is up. It's over with. You know? And then going on to consider the fact that at least she ain't got to deal with racism. Especially when she get older. You know? And it is plenty of black babies who've been aborted in this country. Okay? I'm going to say it's plenty of black babies who've been aborted in America that ain't never had to suffer. Not even much as this 11-month-old child has been suffering. Okay? And that ain't never had to deal with racism, period. And ain't got to deal with it. You know, I don't know about where they went to once they got aborted or died. But they ain't got to deal with this hell here on earth called racism. Okay? And I can tell you that much about it. You know, and I'm going to tell you also is that these children coming in this world today, we do not have no place for them on this earth where they will be protected from what comes along with racism. So what's the use in even having children anyway? Honestly, that's one reason why I finally resigned to the fact why it's not necessary for me to have children of my own. Okay? And even if I could take care of them, it really wouldn't make no difference either. Because at the end of the day, they still gonna be the N-word. They still gonna be a possible statistic getting gunned down by some racist peckerwood called the police. Or getting gunned down by some other type of racists in the street of America. Or getting killed by somebody that looked like them. Over some senseless, more than likely. You know? And they got to deal with this kind of craziness every day of their life. So you know what? One thing I could say about all these babies that have come in the world, I say I salute the fact that they ain't got to deal with this crap called racism. Especially when we haven't created no environment to protect them from that. You know? So like I said before, you know, I'm sorry for the family and what they going through, but hey, it's time to start, manning up, womaning up, accepting responsibility when it come to reality. It is what it is, you know, because let's say if she was to make it through that, although according to the medical professionals, it's impossible, or as they say, irreversible for her to make it through this. But let's say if she was able to make it through this, she would have to go through way more pain than her medical illnesses that she's going through right now. You know? And it don't make no sense. Just being black in America is painful. Which I prefer to call dark skin or soul. People with soul, since people with soul is something that was invented by dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America. Instead of it being given to us by the races, like the mother titles, like the word nigger, coon, black, African, and all this other crap that the racists, gave to us for us to identify ourselves some kind of way by, But like I said before, at the end of the day, we need to wake up. Like I said before, we don't even need to be having these babies if we're not going to have them in a position where we could protect them, let alone take care of them, but have them in a position to where they could be protected from this hostile environment that this society presents for them, which is called racism. They got to worry about, being, like I said, called the N-word, racially attacked, having their head blew off by some racist cop just because they dark skinned, It don't make no sense to have them born into this world in the first place to even have to deal with that. Now you want them to keep going through more pain and just to be kept on life support as well, hoping that they can make it through an illness that's medically considered irreversible, just so they could go through some more damn pain. I mean, come on, people, wake up. You're not making no sense out of this. You're not making no sense at all out of this. Period. Maybe if we took control of a couple of these states, like me and brother be talking about, taking control of a state like Mississippi or something, where we could have a place for dark-skinned descendants of slaves to come to who want to escape racism in any other part of America, then maybe I could consider or agree along with considering the family's wishes that that child remain on life support, hoping that she can possibly some kind of way make it through that painful situation. But like I said, even if she was to, she still wouldn't be protected. I mean, even if her mother or father was with her, some racist cop might decide just want to walk up on them all while they together and just blow their heads off. And we not in no position to protect her or our women. You see? So what difference do it make? We don't have no defense as dark-skinned descendants of slaves when it comes to all this. So we don't have no type of defense against this onslaught that we are suffering as a people every day in this country due to racism. So you will want a child already suffering from a medical health condition to remain here alive on earth in this hellhole, in this cesspool that we living in, just to make it through that, to go through some more unnecessary damn pain, just because of the color of her skin. And before those of you that's gonna be seeing this video, before you come with some rebuttal about why it got to always be about race, first of all, let me remind you of something. The number one thing that America was built upon was racism, slavery, and oppression. This is what America was, the foundation of what America was built on. Okay? So that can't never be forgotten. Period. So the number one thing is that racism is going to always be at the center of the center core of American society. Just because of that. Okay? So race permeates around everything in this country. Always realize that. If you know it's for your own good, always realize that. You know, because this is nothing to play with. You see the kind of crazy politics we got going on in this country, and it ain't getting no better. You know, especially not for dark-skinned descendants of slaves, of course. You know, so like I said before, I mean, at the end of the day, you need to wake up and understand that this thing is real when it comes to racism. You know, and like I said, I wanted to point something out once again, like I just got through saying before in this video. And like I've said before in other prior videos I've made concerning this subject about even having children born into this world or society of racism and hell. You know, like I've even said before in other videos, I would have rather been left alone and not been conceived, other than to be born in a crazy world like this, especially where I got to wake up every day, you know, being marked just because of the color of my skin, you know? And I understand why, even when I was in the so-called pro-black conscious community, why I always used to hear that once you're born in America from day one, you're marked. And that is true. You are marked. If you are a dark-skinned descendant of a slave born in this country, and you are born into this society from day one, yes, you are marked. That ain't no doubt, especially if you're a male. You are marked. You're definitely marked. So, you know, like I said, you know, I feel for this little girl's family. I do. But honestly, just for the sake of it, and just having common sense, just for the sake of the whole matter of the situation, they need to just go on and let them professionals do what they got to do by taking that child off of life support and allowing that baby just to go in peace. Where she ain't got to deal with no more pain, and where she ain't got to deal with no other pain to come afterwards, which I just said regarding racism. You know, she ain't got to worry about being no statistic, far as being a prostitute, a drug addict, a gang member, a jail prison number. You know what I'm saying? She ain't got to worry about dealing with none of that. You know? And that's the great gift in this whole situation. I hate to put it like that, but it's the truth. That's the biggest, greatest gift of this whole situation. Just let her die off in peace. And then she 11 months old. She still don't know what's going on around her anyway. So it'll be a beautiful thing for her not to even become conscious of what type of situation she is. As far as being a dark-skinned descendant of a slave born in America, you know? So like I said before, at the end of the day, she needs to just be left alone and allowed to just go in peace. And I'm saying this directly to this child's family, although I know they may disagree. But if you really love this child, as you say you do, from the deep core or the bottom of your heart, then you will recognize and respect the medical professional's decision on how they handling this situation, and just let that go and be done with it. Because at the end of the day, hey, she'll be a lot better off than these other babies who made it past 11 months old, past 1 to 2 years old, 3 years old, 4, 5 years old. Imagine being a 5-year-old baby being handcuffed by a cop, a 3-year-old baby being handcuffed by a police because you black in America. Yeah, that's the reality that she will have to face. Just because you want to see her go through more pain to get over that, just to deal with some more unnecessary pain. Being dark-skinned in America as a slave descendant. So, hey, like I said before, you can keep fighting these court battles through appeal and taking yourselves and your family through all this unnecessary commotion all you want to, even to the point of spending money, which you could use for something else better. And then at the end of the day, she died. And then all that, what y'all doing, will be for nothing but in vain. Gone down in vain. Just for nothing. Because you choose not to want to, you understand, accept the fact that this child's condition is irreversible, where even the medical professions throughout the country have indicated they cannot do nothing for her in regards of, but yet you continue on wanting to push this narrative, hoping that she gets through this because you so rooted in this whatever religious belief you're into, that some mysterious God is gonna come from out of nowhere and repair this situation. No, that ain't simply how things go, my friend, my fellow slave descendants of dark-skinned slaves born in America. That just ain't how the situation simply go. So like I said before, it's either you gonna simply accept finally what's going on and just move on with your own lives, or keep adding more discomfort and unnecessary pain and misery to what y'all dealing with. Because that's all it's going to come down to. And as far as the situation go with, with this baby and what she's going through, and what she got to deal with, maybe it's for a reason. Everything happens for a reason, of course, in this universe. You know, even y'all who are in religion understands that everything happens for a reason, right? So everything happens for a reason. You know, and the fact of the matter is that she's better off. Either way you look at it. At this point, with that situation being concerned, she's a lot better off where she ain't got to deal with this bull crap here on Earth, especially being dark-skinned in America. Just imagine all these other babies who were born. Let's start with the first day of this year, which was yesterday. Imagine, and I'm talking about mainly so-called black babies that was born here in America, somewhere here in America, in good health, in a much more fortunate situation than what this 11-month-old child has been going through. But they got to experience some other pain that they ain't had nothing to do with creating, which is called racism. You see what I'm saying? Like I've described throughout this video. You see? So, I mean, when you think about it, do you want her to go through this? I'm directly now talking to the mother. No disrespect to the mother, but I'm just asking the mother and the rest of the little girl's family, do you really want your relative or offspring to go through this? Hell, just to go through more? Because y'all know what this hell is like. You see? Y'all know what this hell is like being dark-skinned in America. Y'all know what it's like. So why, if you really truly love this little girl, why would you want to see her continue to go through all that pain just to go through this pain of racism that y'all know so much about as being hell? You know, here in this cesspool. So, like I said before, if that's what you want to do, that's your choice. But I suggest that you really take a look at the situation entirely for what it is. And just let that child, you know, go on in peace. You know, because you don't have no place for her here in this society where she will be protected and be safe from all this craziness of what comes along with being the descendant of a slave born here in America. You don't have no type of safety network set up for her to protect her from any of this. So why be careless about this situation? If you truly love her, why not just show that you love her by just letting her take her last breath? I mean, you know? I mean, cause it don't make no sense that you even sending this child through this just so she could keep suffering like she's suffering. And then for her to suffer more hell. Because you want to see her live the so-called life of the so-called American dream. which has been a nightmare all along for black people or so-called African people here in America. You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand the reality of this whole entire situation, beside the hopes you have religiously or otherwise, that unfortunately I must say is not a promising factor when it comes to reality. I must say it again, it's not a promising factor when it comes to reality. You just praying, hoping, wishing. I mean, hey, our slave ancestors for over 300 years was praying and hoping just to be free, but was still picking cotton and sugarcane all their lives. And the ones who attempted to free themselves through escaping off the plantation had to endure the constant threat of death at the hands of the slave master or the overseer. What was they God at then? So I say to you, the family of Tinsley, Lewis, that if you really love this child, as you claim to do, you will show it in action by considering all the circumstances around this situation and just letting her go peacefully. And just accepting the fact that at least she's one that did not have to stay here to experience or know what it is to be the N-word and all this other craziness that comes along with being a dark-skinned descendant of a slave born here in America. And like I said before, she's dealing with enough pain already, according to her medical condition, that she doesn't, you know what I'm saying, even need to keep dealing with. Especially since the medical professions have already declared her situation as being irreversible. I guess that's a term they medically use when they simply just tell you, look, we can't do nothing else. We done tried all we could do, So like I said before, it is what it is. You're going to do what you need to do yourself a favor and just look at the whole implications around this whole entire situation and consider what you need to do. I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm a slave just like you. A descendant of another slave born here in America, okay? Just like you is. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I'm just suggesting. I'm just giving you from a common sense standpoint of advice. And you can just take it and run with it however you want to. You grown just like I am, okay? But all I'm just saying is that you need to consider, as an advice, from an advice standpoint, you need to really consider, do you want her to keep going through this hellacious pain already that she's continuously going through, just to suffer some more pain like both of you have suffered as her relatives, just because of the color of her skin? So, like I said before, I mean, do you want her to become a statistic, a drug addict, experience housing and job discrimination, gerrymandering, and all this other stuff that comes along with being a dark-skinned descendant of a slave born in America? Is this what you want her to go through? Because that's all she gonna experience due to the fact that there's no protection for people that are dark-skinned descendants of slaves born here in America. We have no type of protective safety net for us regarding us, whether it's the children or adults, period. And especially for a child, just to be born in this world and you want her to come or him to come into this hostile environment anyway, not knowing what they're born into, that's painful enough itself. So like I said before, you need to understand and recognize that. I really care about the baby, and that's not mine. I'm not related to her by kin, but because she is another dark-skinned descendant of a slave born in America, I do care about her enough to consider her situation for what it is, and that, hey, just let her go in peace. Because at least she'll be free from this madness. And, like I said, Brother Talik just called me. Brother Angel Snuff 7, who y'all know from Reality Temple Ministries, just called me. Because I wanted him to be on this video with me. But I'm going to post this video on my channel and get this video also as well posted on the other channel of Reality Temple Ministries. And me and him may do another live hangout called Part 2 regarding this situation. So with that said, as I came, I will leave y'all in peace.